For us, it's been like having a 18-month-old, 2-year-old child for 10 years. He was a typically developing little boy up to 18 months old, and just happy as can be. And then all of a sudden started having some tremors. And it was over a period of 2 or 3 years as we went to the doctor. They diagnosed him with epilepsy at that point. I started on medication. Hadn't even heard the word LGS yet. That was in the fall, and by that March or April, as things continued to get worse, then we got the diagnosis of Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, LGS. Your world kind of drops out from underneath you. Our son he's 10 years old, and thankfully he is still mobile. While he's lost the ability to speak other than making loud screaming noises to get our attention. We have to watch him continuously. He's a little ornery. He gets into everything. Part of my journey with caring for Charles, our little buddy, 2 years ago, I weighed 283 pounds. This year, as a part of my health journey, my son and I started, exercising and training, and I committed to signing up for an Ironman, half Ironman to start with. And that was just a tool to help do a couple of things for me. One, with my personal journey of my own health transformation, it gave me a goal to shoot for. Two, it gave me an opportunity. I bought a chariot for my son and I, and little Charles and I, we will bike ride together. We will jog together. I push him around in that chariot or pull him around with my mountain bike in that chariot for hours. And it's time for us to bond. And the response as I have shared our story, Charles and my story and our family story, has been overwhelming. Hundreds and hundreds of people have donated some $5, some several thousands of dollars. The generosity continues to blow me away, and from people I don't even know. My goal with raising both awareness and the funds for the LGS Foundation is that they'll find a cure. They'll find better treatment and have better outcomes for our children or our family members. If you think about all of the dreams that are not going to be there for them. You think about, again, your children and asking them a question. What do you want to be when you grow up? You can be anything you want. I can't have that conversation with Charles. All I can hope is that he is he happy? And make sure that I'm doing everything I can do to give him the best chance that he can have at whatever life that God provides for him. And I definitely don't feel like at times that I'm doing enough. But part of the reason that I'm sharing this story with this community and others and trying to raise that awareness is, as a dad with an LGS kiddo, if there's anything I can do to give him that life, at least as close as possible to what regular kids get, that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it. This isn't about me. It's not. We may be talking about my journey, our family's journey, but I'm doing it for Charles, and I'm doing it for all of our kids. We love you. Everybody blow kisses to her. Wow. So thank you.
As I was on my journey the last year, as Tracy said, we got to know each other, and she asked me to spend some time talking with you about the journey and about the journey that we've been on in our family, and some of the lessons learned. Our son just turned 11 years old and was diagnosed around 18 months. And so it's been a journey for us. I chose the Iron Man theme because if you guys if you know anything about the Iron Man, it's a triathlon where it's a 2.4 mile swim, followed immediately by a 112-mile bike ride, followed by a 26.2 mile run, a marathon. And you have 17 hours to get that done. And it for most people, including myself, I'm 57, that seems like an impossible goal to accomplish, to do that 17 hours of nonstop movement. And in that opening song that the Iron Man plays as far as their theme song is, it says, to accomplish, to measure, to accomplish an extraordinary, something so extraordinary, one must have an extraordinary dream. To go so high, a journey so demanding that its achievement to many seems impossible. And I think Tracy hit on this also. This journey we're on is a tough journey. We have good days and we have bad days. And it seems impossible at times that we're going to get to the finish line. And for me, one of the lessons learned, there was a picture early on where in the video where I was laying in the bed at the hospital with my son. That stress of that first surgery for us was so stressful. I ended up in a hospital bed right alongside him. I came out of that hospital, and it still didn't sink in for probably another 3 or 4 years as my weight continued to go up, as my stress continued to go up, that I needed to do something so that as I look at Charles and my family, that I could be there for them long term. This journey we're on is like having PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I may have that word wrong. But every day you're on hyper alert. And it's a draining on your body. And you have to take the time to take care of yourself. Because if you're not there, you can't take care of the family. So for me, caring for my family starts with my spiritual well-being, a journey of understanding it's okay to take time for yourself and to recharge. My physical journey, as you can see, if we can put the picture up there. Now, of course, the camera today is adding a whole bunch of weight. So I'm sitting here going, wow, I don't look as good as I thought I did. But anyway, forgive me on that. And also, you can't see my lanyard. I'm going to change it to green. I'm not a hugger most of the time, but I am really a personable person. I love to shake hands. I love to get to know people. So I'm going to change it. Even though it's purple, I'm going to change it to green. So feel free to come up and shake my hand and I guess hug me. But as you can see there, I was, I didn't realize that I had let myself get to that point, and it was how unhealthy I was being. So it actually took an event. I was up at a corporate office in a meeting. I was having problems with my blood pressure and stuff. I was pre-diabetic, and I was sitting in the meeting after my doctor prescribed some new medication, blood pressure medication. I looked down, and my ankles were gone. I couldn't see them. I was like, holy crap. So I went back to him, and he said, you know, that side effect of that medicine can cause your ankles to swell up. He goes, you really need to lose weight. And he goes, I have this shot that I can give you, you can take every day. It's like an easy button, right? It kind of curbs your appetite. I was like, okay, easy. Let's go ahead and do that. And so I get it. He gives me a shot. I tolerate it just fine. I get home and pick up the meds. And then you read the long list of side effects. And I was like, oh, I don't know. It was horrible. So I just threw them in the trash. I said, all right, I'm going to have to do this the hard way. Nothing in our life is easy. It truly is not easy. So I signed up for Nutrisystem, and of course that food was horrible. So hopefully they're not a sponsor of ours here, so I apologize. When I called to cancel that subscription, because I was like, all right, I need to get somebody just to give me what I'm supposed to eat when. And so I was starving all the time, the little portion sizes and all that. I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So I called them up to say, hey guys, I want to cancel this thing. And they go, why? I said, well, it's all processed crap. I mean, it's horrible. And there's not enough to eat. So I finally canceled it and decided that I was going to just eat, if it's, whole foods, right? One syllable, where it's meat, it's fish, it's vegetables, etc. So anyway, I started that journey. It took me about 6 to 8 months before I ran my, I lost the weight and ran my kind of first 5K. And it about killed me. There's a picture I should have included in here about me coming across the finish line on New Year's Day. So it's October 19th of 2019, I started my weight journey. I realized that I needed to do this. I wasn't going to be here for my family to take care of them if I didn't get this under control. And so I started that journey. I ran that with a neighbor, came across, I'm in pain coming across the finish line. And as I talked to him next day, he goes, you know what? There's a half Ironman in June. I had no idea what he was talking about. There's a half Ironman in June. You could do that. I was like, okay, well, let's sign up. Okay, so a half Ironman is 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike ride, and a half marathon, 13 point some miles. So here I go. I start the training exercise. I said, well, I've got the bike down, I've got the run, got to learn how to swim here. So I buy this chariot for Charles and I, and I was like, well, let's just get out there, because he just loves this. He gets in that thing with me. I attach it to the back of my mountain bike, and we go. And it's really a time for us to kind of be together. And I don't have to feel guilty about taking time to do that, because I try to figure out how to incorporate him into that program, because training for an Ironman, and my lovely wife Liz, who put up with me the first full year that I was training for this thing, it's 20 to 30 hours a week to train for that thing. It is a grueling event. My first time that I did a 115-mile bike ride took me 7 hours nonstop pedaling to do that. So again, it allowed me, again, to find a way to do something that I really wanted to do and incorporate Charles into that process. And I'm getting ready for this, and then guess what happens in that March, April timeframe of 2020? The pandemic. And I thought it was kind of all over, but I have been training. So even though they canceled the half Ironman in that June timeframe, I ran it on my own. I went to the Y. I did the swim there by myself. I drove home, and I did the event I had this little Garmin watch that tracks all of the time. It took me 7 hours to get it accomplished. You had 7.5 or 8 by legal standards to get it done, Ironman standards. And you know, I remember as I was coming across the virtual finish line, nobody's there. It's just me. And the feeling of success and the conquering a goal. And, you know, I started tearing up a little bit because, again, at that point, I think I was 56 or 55. And I had started this journey for Charles. And, it hit me at that point that what our little LGS family members have to endure every day. When I see him go into a full body seizure and the pain that entails, he is much more, our LGS family members are much more Iron men or women than I'll ever be. The things that they have to put up with every day. And so I decided that at that point, I was going to, I really wanted to get serious about raising awareness. And how can I do that? I was now hooked on triathletes, running, physical. I'm scared to death about gaining all that weight back. And of course, I struggle with that a little bit. So I started a campaign for the last Ironman that I was training for, and creating on this campaign to create awareness about what LGS is, and raising funds to do that. And you would not believe the response, as I noted in the video. I on LinkedIn, on Facebook, email, phone, everybody in my Rolodex got a text from me asking, telling a little snippet about our story, what it is. If you really want to have an impact, include a cute little picture of the kids, and some of their journey on. And I would literally send out thousands, not just once, but multiple times. And I remember one of the CEOs I used to work with, she finally, after 5 or 6 requests, polite requests over a period of time, finally donated a pretty sizable amount. And I emailed her back and said, don't you wish your salespeople were half as diligent and had the tenacity that I did to get this donation? Well, I thanked her for doing that. And so one of the things that we as a family, and it really does, we love having the LGS family. I'm on the Facebook page. I get to see the stories. We know we're not alone. We can ask advice. But there is so much more. If you take a look, and I don't remember what the number was, but if you take a look at the dollars that are being put towards research around LGS, which is a subset of epilepsy compared to the American Heart Association and others, it's very, very small. We need people to focus on this. We need to make them aware of what we're doing. So every one of you has the ability to do this. I literally, if I take a look at my LinkedIn profile the other day, my post on that profile has been seen by over 8,000 people, right? In the business communities. I had people that I don't even know from around the world donating to the LGS Foundation. I'm getting ready to start. I have another half Ironman in October, getting ready to start the fundraising campaigns. I try to do it once a year. That's another secret. Don't hit them all the time. Once a year, this is your cause you're going to go after. And some people will do $5. I had one company did $5,000. So every little bit helps. And It's really upon this family here to really help create this. So I would encourage you. You can go. My Facebook is open. My LinkedIn is open. I think we still have a link on the site. Feel free to look at the way that I've structured my kind of announcements and that type of thing. Those things work really well. And I just encourage you all to take the time to help us create awareness. Tell us about the story. I've got a few minutes left here. And this is probably the hardest part of the journey we're on. To try to take and find the joy in the little things that in our life each day, because it was 13 hours. We drove in from Indianapolis to Oklahoma, because traveling with little man, who's very vocal, is very painful for the rest of the passengers, because he screams the entire time. Now, he's being pretty good right now. He's not as vocal, so I'm thankful for that. But our 13-hour drive, we had noise-canceling headphones. He's excited. He's getting to see the countryside. So we drove. By the time we got to Oklahoma, we were frayed, nerves, etc. But it was really nice. I had to step back and think about, we're here, we get to see the family. We got to do some swimming yesterday. He was in the pool. He wanted to be a big boy. He swam into the deep end I was scared to death. I'll tell you that. My wife was in the water with him. I didn't want to be a hovering, because he doesn't like it. Even though he can't tell us, he can tell us that he just did, leave me alone. I've got this, Dad. So I stood back and watched her, she's a lot less hovering than I am. I'm the hover. Let him swim out there, and I was ready to dive in the pool thinking he was going to have a problem. Because you got to stay close. You never know when they're going to have a seizure, right? But he had his vest on. She was close enough to get him. Anyway, he had a great time. And that was a moment that just made me feel, wow, we gave him a special little joy today. And I can tell you, and my wife will hopefully be the first to tell you, Charles is a daddy's boy. I mean, I'm his primary, because he's getting so big, I'm his primary caregiver. I change his diapers, I do all that, and that can be very taxing. But the moments that we share together, he and I running, it's just he and I. We're on the bike. I would just encourage you, when that journey continues to get tough, just to try to find that one special moment in every day, because it's a lifelong, for all of us, it's a lifelong journey. I'm scared to death. I have no idea where he's going to be. He's 11. He just turned 11 on Tuesday. I'm hopeful. Take a look at what Tracy did. She went and got a degree in, I'm not sure which specialty, I know it's neurology, right? Neuroscience. There we go, neuroscience. Because she wanted to she wanted to be active in helping us find the answers, right? And so we have the ability, again, I'm not sure that I'm ready to go and start a new career, but what I can do is this. I'm terrified up here. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not a public speaker. It's not what I do. I'm up here because I really do love the community. I look out here. I can look at each one of you and know the journey you're on, because I'm living it every day. And if there's anything I can do, not only to help Charles, but help all of us, I want to do that. And I encourage all of you guys to find what you can do, how you can do to help that. So with that, a couple minutes left. If any questions or comments, or hopefully that was meaningful or helpful. Yes, ma'am.
Is his sibling?
Oh, so Michael is 9 years old, typically developing. right? 9? They're 18 months apart. And of course, Michael is, as for those of you that have children that are typically developing, you know the strain that that can give, because it's a challenge for Michael, because he can't play with his little brother the way he normally would, right? And on our drive down here yesterday, Charles was being extremely ornery and was pulling on him and screaming, so it's very emotional. So we're excited to have Michael here in the sibling camp, hopefully, you know, getting to know that he's not alone in this, in some of those struggles and stuff. But yeah, and it's hard balancing all of that time taking care of Charles, and then because it's a constant do, and it's finding enough time to spend with Michael. We do spend a lot of money on babysitters at this point, because that's the only way to kind of balance everything. And sometimes we feel guilty because our babysitter will walk in the door and Charles will see him. And if I happen to be on the couch, Charles will run right over and sit on my lap because he knows, oh, Daddy's going to go do something, which breaks my heart. But I got to go and spend some time with Michael, or go take some time for myself. Any other thoughts or questions? Well, I'll just leave you with this. Again, the thing that keeps me going is that I really do believe, both from a spiritual point of view, this is a journey, but at some point in the future, regardless of whether they find a cure in his lifetime or not, I'm going to be reunited with him. And how wonderful for me is that going to be able to be in heaven with him, and to know him in a way that is, I don't know him today. But also, I'm a CIO for an organization. I'm in the healthcare industry, and I see the advancements they're making. And I'm also really hopeful that they're going to find new treatments and cures that is going to give our family members at least an improvement in a quality of life. He just got finished with the CC, and his drop seizures, the corpus callosum surgery, right? Did I get that right? There we go. All right. There we go, CC. And that's helped his drop seizures tremendously. Now, we did with the laser side of things. So anyway, hope. Hope. Thank you, guys.